good afternoon, and welcome to the weekly iTNet Tech Update. This month we are covering phishing, as it's National Phishing Month with an F. We're covering phishing with a PH. So today we're going to be discussing what are the objectives of these criminal fishermen, what do they want to get out of phishing you, and what you should do if you fall for a phishing attack, and then we'll be opening it up to answer any of your technology-related business questions. Hello, I'm Michael Kinnett, CEO, founder, and I guess all around, I wear a lot of hats around here, but own iTernal Networks. We've been in business since 2009 here in the state of Nevada, offering cybersecurity and technology solutions to other businesses. And every Friday at 1 o'clock Pacific time, we go live on our social media pages, on our company's Facebook page, company's Twitter page, and my personal LinkedIn page. To share with my connections and with those in the community information about technology, especially around cybersecurity. We always open it up at the end for questions. If you have any questions as we're going, please feel free to post those in the comments. If you're following on Twitter, send me a tweet. Love to get back to you on that. We do this every week at Friday at 1 o'clock, and so far it's been a great experience. I love sharing this information. As most of you, if you've seen before, know that I'm pretty passionate about cybersecurity in general. Love helping other business owners and people in general better understand the risks that are out there and some solutions that steps that they can take and solutions that they can implement to improve their overall cyber resilience. So I like to always start off with something from the news. Some weeks I forget and don't bring something up, but this week there was an article on MSN that talked about a newer, I don't want to call it new because it's just a tweak of some older types of phishing, but a newer style of phishing. And they're calling it callback phishing with a V. And the reason it's with a V is because it has to do with voice, right? So they kind of combine things. But this particular type of phishing, from Q1 of 2021 last year to Q2 of this year, increased 625%, according to the study quoted in this MSN article. And it's kind of a slightly different take on several other scams that have been ran in the past, in which these criminals use phone calls and emails, phishing, to trick you into basically giving them access to your money. So what happens is they send an email with a fake invoice or statement saying that you're going to be charged some ridiculous amount of money, right? If that service normally costs $100, it might be for $2,000 or $1,000 or something where, you put the period in the wrong spot and now you're paying 100 or 1,000 times as much. And with a note at the bottom saying, hey, if you see any errors in this invoice, please contact us at this phone number prior to this date and before you're being charged. And so, people that fall for it call the phone number, and they're not calling customer service for Microsoft or whoever this fake invoice is from. They're calling this scam organization where these criminals are trained in how to convince you to give them access to your bank account information, your login information, whatever information they need, where they can then access some of your funds and essentially steal money out of your account. So for those of you that are interested in learning more about it, there's a video. This is a slightly different type of scam, but very closely related. Mark Rober, he's an engineer, has a YouTube channel. He's got some fun stuff. So if you haven't heard of Mark Rober on YouTube, I highly recommend you go search him out, find some of his stuff. My kids love watching his videos on the obstacle courses for squirrels that he's created in his backyard. But this one in particular is Mark had a friend that was targeted by one of these scamming companies out of India. And he took it upon himself to use his skills and skills of some of his associates to go after these criminal organizations and to try to shut them down. And what they do is it's a call center, right? It's a call center where these criminals scam people out of thousands of dollars of their money. And he was successful. But there's a video I'm going to put in the link in the comments, a link to watch this video on YouTube. But basically it's he was able to gain access to their camera systems, and he sent them cockroaches and confetti bombs and all kinds of stuff, and was able to then gather information to hand over to the authorities and get some of them shut down and some of them being investigated. So it's a fun one, but he goes into great detail on how they operate and what they do. And I think it's important for us to understand how these criminal organizations work and how they think, if we're going to be able to recognize these scams when they come. So hopefully this helps you. You can share that with your loved ones so they don't fall for these scams either. All right, moving on. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what is the objective of phishing and what you should do if you're phished, right? If you fall for it. So first, the object of phishing, right? It's not necessarily one objective. Ultimately, you could probably say the objective is for the criminals to make money off of phishing you. But there's lots of other smaller pieces of that, right? So they want to steal your data. They want to steal your credit card information, your name, your occupation, where you work, your phone number, your email address, your address, anything to identify you, any of this personal information. They want it. And the reason they want it is because there's value to sell that on the dark web. They want to know your bank information, where you bank, right? Well, if they know where you bank, then they can do some custom, fake websites to try to trick you into giving you login information, other stuff. They want to know your social security number, credit card numbers, bank account numbers, all of this stuff, because they can either use those to steal your identity, to open accounts in your name and go and have a spending spree that's going to affect you and your loved ones. Or they're going to just, go and sell this information to some other criminal for them to do something with it on the dark web, right? So there's a market for this, and I don't have it in front of me, but there's a dollar value associated with a credit card number, a social security number, all this, right? So they can go and they can post and say, hey, we have this information, and they expect to get a certain amount of dollars for that information on the dark web. One of the other things that they use phishing for is to steal company information, right? So they want your personal information, but they also want your company information. They want access to company and corporate data. And they can either go and put that on the dark web, or they can, with the same access, when they get access to that information, they can ransom it. They can encrypt it, run ransomware. They can either steal the data and say, hey, we're going to release this to the public if you don't pay the ransom, or they'll encrypt it. And more we're hearing that they do both, right? These criminal organizations will say, hey, we've encrypted your data, pay the ransom. You pay the ransom, and they say, okay, well, here's your data. Yeah. Oh, but by the way, we also took a copy, and if you don't want us to release it, you got to pay another ransom. And you may wonder where it ends. Well, we don't know, right? These criminals are just going to get as much out of you as they can. And so, phishing allows them to gain access to these systems to do this, to install malware on your computers, to steal data, to encrypt data, to run all kinds of different attacks that can cripple an organization, keep them from operating, and keep them from sometimes keeping their doors open. So this is all, there's lots of different types of malware and things that they can do once they gain access. But phishing is one of the biggest ways that they gain access to company systems. And so that's why we talk about it so much. So the next big question is, well, what happens if you fall for a phishing attack, right? What happens if you get an email, you think it's legitimate, you click on it, and you do whatever it says? What should you do? Well, I would say kind of depends, right? Depends what type of phishing you fell for. If you fell for one of these phishing attacks where you're actually talking with them on the phone, and in the course of talking with them, give them access to your systems, the first thing you should do after you realize what's going on, disconnect your computer from the internet and uninstall anything that was installed while you were working with these people. And prior to plugging it back into the internet, talk to your technology professional and have them run some scans and make sure that system's clean before you plug it back into the company network or back into the internet, where it could either phone home, download additional stuff, or then start spreading things to other systems. So that's always the first step, right? If they've gained access, if you clicked on a link and it looks like it downloaded stuff, disconnect from the network, talk to your IT professional about that. Another big thing that I recommend is change your passwords, right? Change the password to your computer, change the password to anything critical that you're concerned may have been leaked, right? So if If you fell for one that says, hey, Bank of America, log in now to qualify for a bonus or blah, 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 and you clicked on that link and it took you to a fake Bank of America website and you typed in your username and password, immediately go and change whatever password's associated with whatever that phishing attack was. If there's other accounts that you're concerned with, this goes against any security protocols, but if you have a document on your desktop that has all your passwords to your bank accounts and everything, I would highly recommend, one, getting a password manager and getting rid of that document, but two, anything that was easily accessible on your computer with passwords, you probably should go change those passwords just to be safe. If you're working for a company and this is a company system that you access this phishing from, you should immediately contact your IT department, your systems administrator, whoever works with you in maintaining the security and health of your network and your technology. Let them know what happened. If you still have a copy of the email, forward it to them as an attachment so that they can see the original email, see where it came from, and do whatever analysis they're going to do with their tools to determine the risk associated with that. And let them know what you did, right? Oh, I clicked on it and it took me to a website and the website looked funny, so I didn't do anything else and I closed my browser and now I contacted you. If you went to a website and put in any passwords, let them know that, right? Anything that action that you took, whether you clicked on it, went to a website, typed in anything, your IT professional needs to know what was done so they can do a deep dive analysis of the threat and they can run their scans and make sure that the systems are still clean. So if during this phishing attack, anything was related to your bank accounts, right? So if you're on the phone with these criminals and you give them any information about your bank or credit card or authorize any sort of transaction or anything like that, then the last step I would suggest is contacting your banks and letting them know what happened and explaining to them and having them put a fraud watch, and if they see any transactions to either contact you or block them until you release that. So hopefully this is helpful information, and I really hope that none of you watching this ever have to follow all of these steps. Hopefully you can train yourself to recognize and be alert and aware to these threats and not fall for them. But mistakes are made. We're all human. None of us are perfect, and so if you do fall for one, hopefully this is helpful for you. Let's see here. Matt Solomon on LinkedIn. All right, thanks. Good stuff. Phishing is such a big threat. It is a huge threat. So thanks for commenting on here. Glad that you're watching. We'll open it up for questions here in a minute, but I saw that comment pop up. I wanted to say hi to Matt. Thanks for joining. The last thing before I get to questions is just a reminder for our webinar. So we do monthly webinars. This webinar, no surprise, we're going to be talking about phishing since it's phishing month. So we're going to be talking about don't get hooked with phishing. We're going to be talking about how you can educate yourself, your staff, to recognize and be aware of the risks that are out there and hopefully not fall for them, right? So hopefully all the steps I just gave you on what to do if it happens, hopefully you can just prevent it, right? And the best way is by having some sort of regular training program within your organization. And we're going to talk about that, what that should look like, what should be included, how you do that, what happens when an employee fails training. We'll answer all your questions about that and hopefully help you to improve your business cyber resilience by implementing some of these things. So that's going to be August 25th, 1 p.m. Pacific time. I will make sure we've got a link posted in the comments. Zach Rogers from the company Breach SecureNow, he's a great guy. He's going to be joining us as our expert and kind of talking about some of these solutions that are out there and programs that should be implemented in your organization. So with that being said, see if there's any other comments or questions to respond to here. If you're not watching this live, you're watching it after the fact, and you have a question, direct message me or post it in the comments anyway. I do follow up on any direct messages. Love to answer any of your questions, whether it's phishing related, security related, technology related, or anything else. Maybe you want to know where I got my background here from, and I can point you to the graphic artist that created that for us. whatever questions come up, I'm available. You can direct message me, LinkedIn, Facebook, or send me a tweet. I don't see any other questions. It's Friday afternoon. Hopefully you guys are all able to wrap up your work here and enjoy the weekend that's coming up. And we'll see you and talk with you next Friday. Thank you.